If your name doesn't cause hesitation, you don't have power. You have decoration. A true reputation isn't earned through kindness or competence. It's built through controlled fear, the kind that enters the room before you do and lingers long after you leave. You don't need to threaten people. You need them to believe you're the last man they should ever cross. Not because you're loud, not because you're cruel, but because when something happens, you move without warning and with purpose. That's how you become untouchable. Reputation isn't branding. It's psychological warfare. And in this lesson, I'll show you how to build a reputation that doesn't just command attention. It commands obedience. This is not charisma. This is calculated fear, sharpened like a blade. You want to be respected? That's fine. But if you want to rule, be feared without ever raising your voice. Let me be direct. Fear is faster than respect and more durable than love. You can inspire people for a season, but if you make them flinch when they hear your name, you own them forever. Most men confuse reputation with image. They decorate themselves with titles, quotes, credentials. But none of that matters when someone feels nothing at the thought of opposing you. You must become an emotional trigger, a psychological weight that alters decisions before you're even involved. Your reputation should feel heavier than your presence. That is the first rule. Start not by asking what you want to be known for, but by asking, what do you want people to fear losing when they cross you? Your trust, your alliance, your silence, your wrath. The answer becomes the spine of your reputation. Now understand this clearly. Your reputation is not for your friends. It's for your enemies. It is not meant to be fair. It is meant to be useful. You are not building an identity. You are building a weapon. That weapon must be sharpened with intentional cruelty and strategic mercy. You need exactly one public execution. It doesn't have to be physical. It can be social, political, professional. One person who underestimated you, who crossed a clear line, and you punish them decisively, publicly, and without warning. Not out of anger, but out of necessity. Because stories travel faster than explanations. People must know. You are slow to anger, but once moved, you finish things. Follow this with silence. No boasting. No drama. Let the fear ferment. When a man punishes and then disappears, he becomes a legend. Let them write your story while you plan your next move. Your power will not come from repetition. It will come from precision. And don't mistake noise for dominance. The most dangerous reputations are built in silence, in the things people assume, not the things you tell them. Mystery is fuel. Let others talk too much. You stay still, and they will imagine you to be capable of more than you are. This works in your favor. Be deliberate in what you reveal. A small, calculated display of cruelty, even something symbolic, creates a reputation of sharpness. But then stop. Too much violence makes you predictable. Too much kindness makes you safe. Balance it. Confuse them. One day, help someone generously. Another day, destroy a threat with no hesitation. Make it impossible to predict who you'll be tomorrow. Fear grows in uncertainty. And don't seek forgiveness. That's for the weak. If your action is questioned, double down. The man who regrets is vulnerable. The man who justifies is defensive. The man who says nothing, he's untouchable. Let others apologize for misunderstanding you. When people don't know if you're moral or monstrous, they tread lightly. That's exactly where you want them. Build rituals around your presence. If you walk into a room, pause. Say little. Look once. Let others fill the silence. Let them anticipate your words. When you speak, speak with finality. Don't argue, state declare, end, and make sure every advantage they enjoy is somehow connected to you, even indirectly. That way, the fear of losing your favor becomes more powerful than their desire to oppose you. That's not loyalty. That's strategic dependence. In time, people will adjust themselves around your name. You will not need to demand respect. It will be pre-installed in the minds of those who fear the cost of disrespect. This is how kings are made before they wear crowns. This is how shadows rule over light. You don't need to lift your hand. You just need them to remember what happens when you do. You've punished once. You've remained silent. Now the real work begins. Because a reputation is not maintained by force. It is maintained by illusion. And the most effective illusions are the ones you never explain. Understand this. Men do not fear you for what they know. They fear you for what they think they don't know. Your reputation must be surrounded by uncertainty. They must believe that beneath your calm face is a mind that remembers, calculates, and punishes without warning. To maintain this, you must learn to master symbols. A symbol is a weapon that works without being held. It's a gesture, a habit, an object, a phrase, repeated just enough to become associated with fear. Roman emperors wore purple. Mafia bosses used silence. Great rulers used fire, coins, animals, myths. You must invent your own. Maybe it's the way you look at someone just before you remove them from your world. Maybe it's a red book you always carry, or a line you say before taking action. When people start to connect a visual or verbal cue with consequences, you no longer need to act. The symbol does it for you. This is how you spread your influence without speaking. Symbols are the seeds of legend. Now pair that with silence, but not passive silence. Loaded silence. A silence that screams, "I'm thinking, and you should be worried about what I might do next." You must speak only when it matters. And when you do, every word must feel like a verdict. Silence has a rhythm. If you're always silent, they forget you. If you speak too often, they decode you. But if you speak rarely, and only to correct, to punish, or to grant, then your voice becomes a psychological switchblade. Sharp, sudden, feared. You are not here to be understood. You are here to be interpreted, misinterpreted. Whispers about your intentions are more powerful than confirmations. A man who is feared leaves his enemies guessing, and guessing creates mistakes. Mistakes you can exploit without lifting a finger. This is how you become a myth in real time. A myth is not a lie. It is a version of truth so amplified, so dramatized, that people begin to move around it like it's a force of nature. You must cultivate this version of yourself. Let others tell the story. He never forgets. He smiled when he punished him. He sees everything. He helped once, then disappeared. These are phrases that don't need your confirmation. Once people start speaking about you this way, you've transcended personal reputation. You've become an idea, and ideas are immortal. But there is one final danger: accessibility. If you are too visible, your myth decays. Familiarity breeds weakness. Never be fully known. Never be fully available. Even your allies should feel a gap between themselves and your true mind. The moment they believe they fully understand you, the fear evaporates. So you must remain half visible, half imagined. Step into the room rarely. Let others speak in your name. Let them project their fears onto your silence. Your job is not to clarify. Your job is to let the silence thicken. Withdraw after victories. Speak less when you win. Let them ask, "What is he thinking?" That question is power. That uncertainty is leverage. That fear is free control. Do not fight for your reputation every day. Build it well once, with fire, with silence, with symbolic scars, and then let the world maintain it for you through gossip, memory, and rumor. That is when you stop needing power, because you've become something rarer, a presence that governs in absence, a name that tightens the air. If you want to be feared, you must also know when not to act. The greatest mistake tyrants make is overexposure. They strike too often, speak too loudly, and punish without purpose. In doing so, they dilute their own aura. Their fear becomes noise. Their name becomes background. If you've built a reputation of consequence, then your absence must become your loudest move. Let others speak. Let your enemies posture. Let your name hang in the air while you remain still. Your silence becomes suspense. Your inaction becomes tension. When people start planning their behavior in case you return, you have already won. They are no longer reacting to you. They are reacting to the possibility of you. This is the level where true fear lives, not in presence, but in prediction. Your goal is to make them dread your return, to fear that your silence is not forgetfulness, but planning, that every quiet day is a countdown they cannot see. This fear grows in the imagination, and the imagination is far more brutal than reality. Now we must speak of mercy. Most fools believe mercy is the opposite of cruelty. They are wrong. Mercy is not goodness, it is strategy. It is a tool for deeper fear, when used correctly. Here's how it works. When you have the power to destroy someone, and they know it, your decision not to strike can produce more fear than destruction itself. But you must make sure they know what could have happened. Mercy only has weight if your capability is unquestionable. You must show the blade, then choose not to use it. That's when the fear of your mercy becomes worse than the memory of your cruelty. The spared man becomes your messenger. He walks the world with the burden of your mercy, warning others with his very existence. He could have ended me. He didn't. I don't know why. That confusion is worth more than any execution. But be warned, mercy is never to be handed out casually. If given too often, you become soft. If expected, you become weak. Use it once, maybe twice, and only when it buys you long-term silence from many men, not short-term gratitude from one. And you never owe explanations. Never say, "I forgave him." Let others wonder, did you forget? Did you forgive? Are you waiting for a better time? Fear lives in those questions. And when they ask them behind your back, you are in control of their minds. The fear of unpredictable retaliation is more powerful than the act of retaliation itself. If they know when you strike, they prepare. But if they believe you're always calculating, they unravel themselves. This is the slow war, the elegant war, where you never swing the sword, and yet heads still roll. And now, reputation has matured. You are no longer just feared. You are respected because of the fear. It begins with dread. Then comes admiration. Why? Because humans worship power. They resent it, yes, but they worship it nonetheless. And when your enemies begin to admire the way you controlled them, they become silent supporters. They may never say your name aloud, but when others speak against you, they'll say, "I wouldn't cross him if I were you." That's how kings defend themselves without raising a finger. A reputation that inspires fear and admiration is rare. Most are hated or liked, but you will stand in between, unreachable and undeniable. And that's the final level of power, when even those who despise you still tell others not to test you, because they've seen what happens. Or worse, they haven't. By now, you've learned the foundation of fear: silence, unpredictability, symbolic cruelty, and weaponized mercy. But fear alone is not enough. A temporary storm frightens people, but a climate keeps them obedient. So now we shift from raw intimidation to a higher level. Strategic fear that serves you perpetually. You must understand. The final goal of reputation is not just that they fear you. It's that they reshape themselves to fit your expectations, whether you're watching or not. This is the moment when you stop chasing power and start drawing it in. Let me show you how. Step 1. Turn your reputation into an ecosystem. Once your name evokes fear, you will notice something. People begin to self-regulate. They speak differently around you. They weigh their words. They ask permission even when none was required. This is good, but not enough. You must build an environment around your name, a psychological ecosystem where your standards become law and your absence feels like a test. That means setting unspoken rules. Never write them, never state them. Let others observe and guess. When people aren't sure where the line is, they stay far away from it. That's how you create order without lifting a finger. Step 2. Keep your power indirect. If you control people directly, they rebel. If they believe their power depends on staying in your good graces, they remain loyal. This is what I call psychological dependence. You don't tell them what to do. You make them fear what happens when they lose access to you. Create opportunities for them. Solve problems once. Grant them favors they didn't expect. Then watch what happens. They will associate their success with your approval and your silence with danger. Now they need you, and a man who needs you will do anything to avoid your disappointment, especially when your disappointment is silent. Step 3. Don't just punish betrayal. Make it expensive. A feared reputation is not maintained by punishment alone. It is maintained by what betrayal costs. If someone betrays you, you don't just remove them. You make sure no one profits from defiance. You take away protection, access, privilege, and then act like they never existed. Ghosting is power when people expect thunder and you give them frost. When betrayal costs more than loyalty, even cowards behave. Let others know. You don't chase, you don't argue, and you don't forgive. You simply vanish people from the system you built. Let them live with that absence. They will warn others for you. Step 4. Use fear to form alliances, not isolation. Do not become the tyrant who trusts no one. Fear, when refined, is a tool of selection. Use it to filter who is worth being near you. If someone is not at least a little afraid of disappointing you, they should not be close. If someone fears you too much to speak honestly, they're useless. The balance is this. Keep allies slightly afraid, but highly dependent. Give them victories. Give them proximity. But remind them, without saying it, if you cross me, I disappear. And everything you've built disappears with me. That is how you inspire loyalty without love. That's when fear becomes infrastructure. Self-sustaining. Perpetual. You no longer build your reputation. It builds itself. Your power now lives in the minds of others. You are no longer a man. You are a boundary. And boundaries don't negotiate. They simply stand, and people shape themselves to avoid crossing them. You've built the reputation. You've turned fear into obedience. You've made yourself a myth in your own lifetime. Now comes the final move, the exit. Why? Because power is not maintained by staying visible forever. It is preserved by knowing when to disappear. This is what most rulers, influencers, and powerful men never understand. They stay too long. They become predictable. Their mystique fades. Their name becomes a face. Their authority turns into noise. But the most feared names in history? They vanished at the peak, leaving behind a vacuum. A silence no one could replace. You do not need to be everywhere. You need to be missed. Disappear strategically. When you have built your name into a force, into a shadow people watch even when you're not there, that is the time to step back. Not in defeat, but in design. Leave them wondering, where did he go? Why did he stop? Is he watching? That lingering uncertainty is a permanent echo of your control. You do not need to be present to influence. You need your absence to carry weight. That is the final evolution of fear, when your silence is louder than your actions ever were. Legacy is manufactured memory. Most men think legacy is truth. It isn't. Legacy is what they whisper when you're gone. It's what they warn others about. It's the story that spreads without correction. Because you're no longer around to explain yourself. And when you've mastered the art of fear, they'll build your legend for you. They'll inflate it. They'll twist it. They'll use it to threaten each other, even in your absence. Don't try that. He used to work with Machiavelli. She learned under him. Be careful. I heard he once, let them finish the sentence. Let them write the fiction. Because in fear, fiction becomes reality. The final move, become a ghost that haunts power. The most dangerous reputation is not the one that dominates the room. It's the one they still feel in rooms you no longer enter. Let the new rulers speak bravely. Let them posture. And let their advisors whisper, but if he ever returns, that is victory. Because the man they fear the most is not the one who stands before them. It's the one who vanished without ever being defeated. You must leave while they still fear you, not when they start to question you. You must disappear when your silence causes more panic than your words ever could. That is how you become immortal, not in body, not in glory, but in fear. Final words from Machiavelli. Power isn't loud. It isn't popular. It isn't kind. It is cold. It is patient. It is psychologically surgical. Build a reputation that scares them, and you'll never need to defend yourself again, because they will defend themselves from you. If you found this lesson useful, good. That means you're no longer trying to be liked. You're trying to be remembered. Subscribe. Because I'm not here to inspire you. I'm here to make you dangerous. And if this disappears one day, you'll know it was intentional. Welcome to the shadows.